One. Good morning, afternoon, evening from wherever you are listening. Welcome back to the Breakevens podcast. My name is Corey, and as always, with me is Jack.
Hello.
So round 15 is over, and Supercoach scores wise, it was a good round. It was a good round for most of us, but one man that dropped 161 big points, Timothy Stewart. He absolutely destroyed Dion Prestia and has copped 4 big ones. So that's going to be a discussion a bit later. And it's been the talk of the Twitterverse all week. As always, thank you all again for your support. More people on Twitter, get in the comments. Share when our podcast goes out. The more people we reach, the better it'll be for the community. You can find us on Twitter at Breakevens Pod, and we're also on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. If you search Breakevens, you will see our logo there. All right, so in today's podcast, we're going to review last round's games. As always, if you're hot and colds, I'll go through the VC and C options, and Jack, there are a lot. Everyone seems to be playing teams they absolutely destroy, so that might take a little bit. We'll also discuss our personal teams and how the break-evens team's going. And the new, I guess, segment is the discussion points for this week. We have 3 of them there that we'll go through at the end. So, Jack, how did you go?
I actually went all right. Scored 2,478, so full team plus a rookie pretty much because of English. Which it doesn't look like he's been named for tomorrow night. I didn't get a look.
He's a day a day too late to return, so he has.
So
to
he's not
off.
playing this week.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. Yeah, no, he ain't played. So yeah, 2,478 with him out, which really hurts for next week as well. That means I jumped 3,454 rankings and I'm back down to 17,921. Good and bad. Sicily was bad. Crisp, who I just bought in, was bad. Jaden Short was bad again. Callum Mills was bad, and I've put this bloke on my never again list, so jump on him for next season. Patrick Cripps, he's fucking shit. Looking at the forward line, Parker 75, Trelaw 89, and obviously I had Judson Clark on the field who scored a 26.
Yep.
One thing I did do which was good, but was I had Rory Laird captain, like I said, and trying to remember, I think it was McRae. I had vice captain on who scored 123.
Yep.
And you were saying, yeah, take it, don't risk it. And I just gave you the dusty don't argue, and Laird scored 156. So that was pretty good.
Fair play.
It was very risky on my end, but I backed him in, and I'm glad I did. But yeah.
All right. Any trades this week, and what's your current rank?
I said my rank was 17,921.
There you go. I must have missed it.
So trades, I've done 2. And they're both risky.
I like it.
So obviously Tom Stewart had to go. So I've gone and brought in a bloke that's at 508k, but he's averaging 105. And that man is Aaron Hall.
Yep.
Now, I say risky not because of his scores. We know he's going to score well. It's risky because it's twice already this season he's done his hamstring. So I am here praying to good mate Jesus that he doesn't do it again. And my second trade is Pat Lipinski had to go.
Yep.
Useless donut. Looking at people I could upgrade into, there weren't really many with the cash I had that I could get. There was like no one that you could go, yep, get him. He's gonna do great.
Yep.
So especially with Prestier out this week and most likely next with concussion, I've gone a Richmond bloke that's been scoring well the last 4 or 5 rounds and played some midfield minutes last week and was an absolute bull in there. And I've gone Liam Baker.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely a pod, but if he keeps up the form, you can't really complain, can you?
Not at all.
Because what's 112 over the last 3, 110 over the last 5.
Yeah.
134, 80, 112, 100, 126. So if he keeps that up, he'll definitely take it.
Absolutely.
So how many trades do you have left?
6.
6, and your team's full promo once English comes back in.
Yeah.
Nice. You're in a really, really good spot there. All right, so I'll go through my team. So I scored 15 points less than Jack. I scored 2,463, which means
You suck.
which means I jumped another 2,575 ranks though, and now I sit at 15,080th. I was happy with my squad. I loopholed Oliver's 140, which was great. These names: Sicily, Short, Doherty, Cripps, Brayshaw, all just under the 100. None of them really bad scores, but just underperformed from what we expect. Parker with a 75, as Jack said, it was disappointing, and I still have Brody Hoff because I'm not full primo at the moment. He scored a 54, which I'll take, and I had Justin Clark on field, obviously, same as Jack. English on the bench, which wasn't ideal, but they were really the only letdowns. Trades this week for me, with Stewart out for 4 weeks, I've gone the same with you, Jack. I've gone Aaron Hall, and I've downgraded Greg Clark and brought in Josh Carmichael. And this is my reasoning for both of those. So Hall's a pod. I'll go through it a bit later, but he's only in 1% of team at the moment. He's the cheaper option. I was originally going for Dawson. As soon as Supercoach opened, I traded Shootout for Dawson. But then I was looking at him like 13% have Dawson. He's the safer option. I'm looking to move up the ranks, so I went with Hall. And Carmichael, he's a chance to get a game, I think. I'm doing something you shouldn't do and try and predict a debut, but with DPP and 102k, I've brought him in, and what that means is that leaves me with $366,200 in the bank to upgrade Hoff next week, and that means I'll be full primo. But the only downside to that is I only have 4 trades at the moment, which means 1 next week. I will be left with 3 trades for the rest of the season, which isn't ideal, but that's my team. So now we'll go through the very long VC and C options.
I want to see, because I've done my VC and C. I want to see if
I've got
C option you name.
I've got 16 options here.
Surely he's one of them.
So we'll start off with Lockie Neal versus the Dogs on Thursday night. Averages 122 versus the Dogs, so he's a VC option there. Next, Clary Oliver versus the Crows, averages 167 over his last 3 games. That's a twilight game on Saturday, so he'll be a captain option. His last 3 scores, 99, 204, 205. Ridiculous. He has to be your VC or C. Next, your boy Jack Rory Laird averages 116 versus the D's. I think I've put the wrong night for that. That is Saturday twilight. So it's a twilight Saturday game. I don't know why I put the wrong one there, but we move on. Next is Jack McRae versus the Lions, averages 151 in his last 3 games. That's a Thursday night, so it's a VC. So do you go McRae, Neal, or there's a few others from this game coming up. Next, Callum Mills averages 127 versus the Bombers. Is the first game on Saturday. So he could be a VC or C option there. Tuk versus the Pies, averages 132 over the last 3. That's a Saturday night, so you most likely think that's a captain. Marcus Bontempelli, 117 versus the Lions. As I said, that's a twilight game on that Thursday. No, that's Thursday. Sorry. They play Thursday night. For some reason, I was looking at the wrong game. 117 for Bont there. Those are all the solid picks. Now I'm going into the roughies. Sam Doherty versus the Saints on Friday night. Averages 120 against them. He'd be a VC. Josh Kelly versus the Hawks, 126. Second game on the Sunday is a cheeky captain option. Not many will have this guy, but someone I'm possibly looking at is Jack Steele, 131 versus the Blues. Came back last week, got 115 or something. They play on the Friday night, so you'd think he'd be a VC. Travis Boak versus Freo, 125. That's the last game on Sunday, so it's a captain option for those who have him. Christian Petrarca versus the Crows. I could have a billion Melbourne players in here because they play the Crows, but 124 against them on the Saturday twilight. Ollie Wines, Jack, 126 versus Freo, the last game on the Sunday, so it's a captain. Lukey Parker, 122 versus the Bombers. That's the first game on the Saturday, so VC or C, depends how risky you are. Jaden Short, 119 versus the Eagles. That's the first game on the Sunday, so you think that'll be a captain. And the very last one, unless I'm crazy, is Adam Treloar, 126 versus the Lions. And that is the Thursday night.
You are crazy because you mentioned Adam Treloar.
Did I hit your guy on the head?
Well, it's funny because when you're like, oh, yeah, this, and you're like, the riskies. And I'm like, okay, surely he's going to come up. What was, I think, the second player you said?
Josh Kelly.
That's exactly who I've got as my captain.
Yep, so me personally, I'm going McRae into Oliver. I just feel like their averages are way too high against the sides, so one of them has to fire.
Yeah, well, I've gone Oliver into Kelly.
Yeah.
Hoping Oliver does Oliver, but if not, I'm like I did with Laird last week. I've gone, you know what? Who's going to put fucking Kelly as their captain against the Hawks? Unless John Newcomb goes to him, which I can't see Newcomb going to Kelly over a Tom Green.
Yeah. Or even a Cogs. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll quickly go through the Breakevens team. 2,419 for the Breakevens, jumped 1,436 ranks, and we're now ranked 16,903rd. Similar to my team, we've all all the scores. Jack, I do have to apologise again. I did not take McRae's 123, meaning we were stuck with Callum Mills as captain, and he scored an 86, so we could have scored more there. But regarding trades, we have 3 left, and with Tom Stewart out, we're going to have to use one. We've gone with Dawson. He'll come in. So that leaves us with 3 trades, which isn't ideal, but that's super coach for you. There's a lot of rookies, and Caleb's so wrong that we started and had to get rid of early. So not great, but teams looking good. Some to jump up the ranks. We just need to start getting the VCs and Cs right. And I just got to fucking do it, don't I? All right, we'll move into the hot and colds. Jack, you'll start us off with the Ds versus the Lions.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Melbourne won by 64 points.
Yeah.
Not saying it's surprising that Melbourne won. Anyone could have won, but a 64-point win is surprising, especially when it is 1v2. Getting into the hots, Clayton Oliver 140, Jake Lever 135, Jack Vardy 123, Luke Jackson 122, Hamish's brother Angus scored 106, Harms scored 103, and Jordan scored 102.
He's been dominating lately.
Yeah, my boy James Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah.
For Brizzy, we got Dan Rich 135, Harris Andrews 117, Neil 111, and McCluggage 103. Getting into the cold, Petrarca 97. Not gonna lie, I was tempted to put him in the hots because it's the most he's scored in the last 10 weeks. Christian Salem 55. This one surprised me a bit, so I chucked him in there. Ed Langdon only scored a 32.
Yep.
And for Brisbane, Lions had a injury to the sternum.
He's playing. He's been confirmed.
I mean, still not good.
Yes.
And Tunstall's got a 38 on debut.
Yep.
And that's all I've got.
Yep. Just before we get into the next thing, Gaz the Lion's taken 5 wickets in the test match. Get around him.
Who?
Gaz the Lion.
Ah, my king.
All right, so I had the next game, which is the Dogs versus the Hawks. No surprises, Dogs won by 42. The Hots Forum, Bond 136, McRae 123, Riley West 121, Libba 118, Dunkley 110, Dale 110, and is it Ryan Gardner 108?
Yeah.
He showed up, and for the Hawks, only 2 blokes, Jack Scrimshaw 131, and your boy Jack Dylan Moore 112. As we get into the colds for the Dogs, Trelaw with an 89, Ed Richards 52, concussed, so he'll be out for a week. And as Jack loves to say, so Cody Waitman 2, and he played the full game, so good on him. Aiden Bonner territory there, and for the Hawks, Sicily 87, just under par, and Tom Mitchell just an 80. Yeah, not a great game there, super coach wise. So we'll go into the next game, Jack, which you had was the Eagles versus the Bombers.
Bombers. Have you seen this Sri Lankan guy's name?
Does it go on for about 4 years?
No. Dick Walla.
Yeah, Dick Walla, yeah.
What a man! Eagles versus the Bombers. The Eagles won by 10, which I say is an upset. Not sure about you, but thought Bombers would win, and they should have. They just couldn't kick straight.
I got the Eagles tip right, so
You did get the tip right, but it was risky, and you love it.
Yep.
So getting in the hots, Willie Rioli, he must have taken his drugs. So he got 127.
Jesus.
Jack Redden, 106. Cripps, 105. Yeah, he did better than the other Cripps. Sucked in. And Elliot Yo, 102. Getting into the Bombers, Zach Merritt, 111. Mason Redman, who I was going to put in my team, one of the two options I was going to put in my team, and you said you're an idiot, scored 107.
I stand by that.
2 Meter Peter got 105. Shield, Kelly, and Stringer all three got 101. And Jordan Ridley got 100. Getting into the colds, we've got another member of the Aiden Bonner Club, Jamison with a -4. Hey. Bazo, 37 in his second game, which isn't great for people who already jumped onto him or were thinking of. And the last one, just to make you a little happy, Benjamin Hobbs got a 36.
Yeah, suck in, Ben. Suck it.
And that's all I had.
Get
around Jameson.
Just quickly, Nick Nat is back this week, so I think Jamison might be dropped.
Nah, keep him in. Surely that was a huge effort.
So at the next game, the Blues versus Freo, and the Blues won by 31. The hots for the Blues: Walsh 138, Zach Fisher 113, Kennedy 112, Adam Sard 109, George Hill 104, and Jack Munes 100. And for Freo, Will Brody 129, Shrek Darcy 117, Jordan Clark 108, and Hayden Young 104. As we move to the colds, a bit harsh, but Paddy Cripps with a 95, Doherty with a 91, Harry Mackay 64, Boyd with a 50. He's done something to his foot. I don't know what the injury is, but all I know is it's 8 to 12 weeks. So I'm guessing
it's some type of fracture or break.
Okay, there you go. And for Freo, Brayshaw 87, Sarong 70, Luke Ryan 50, Nat 5 41, and Dave Mundy with a solid 25. Jack, you've got the next game, which will go for about 4 hours. The Cats versus the Tigers.
Yeah, Geelong won by 3 points. They did, I know. We got Tom Short 161, of course. Cam Guthrie 109, Tyson Stenkel 101, and Sam DeConning got to triple figures.
Yeah, get around him.
And I'll put this one in here. I'm not too sure about how he's been lately, but Tom Atkins with a 99. That's a surprise to me. Not sure how he's been averaging, but I haven't really seen him up there too much this season.
93 over the last 3.
What, there you go.
79, 103, and 99.
Yeah. Into the Tigers, Nankervis 141. Vloshun, the second person I was thinking of getting in my defense over Cripps, 130. Liam Baker, 126. Getting into the colds, Tom Stewart, 4 weeks.
161, cold.
He killed Prestia. That's not why I'm mad. The reason I'm mad he did it is because I backed him in from round 1, kept him. I chose him over everyone, and he's gone and let me down. You bastard. Tom Hawkins 43, Mitch Duncan 75, which by the way I did want to put Robbie Tarrant in the hots, but he did only score like 50, so he did his job. as Roy Keane would say. Getting into the colds for Richmond, Jaden Short 84 again. Dion Prestia, I've put in brackets, died. He could be a 2-week outer with concussion as well.
Yeah.
Which is not great. Judson Clark at 26, obviously, and Dusty, he's been a little different this week. He's decided to finish on 69. Bit out of character for him. It's at least a 68. And that's all I had for that game. Which, by the way, fantastic game.
Yeah, well, it was a great game to watch. I don't think any game this season will beat it unless we have a game like that for the grand finals. So, all right, next game was the Swans versus the Saints. Swans won by 51. No surprise there. The Seagull returned Jake Lloyd with 148. Tom Hickey 133. The Lizard Blakey 126. And Tom Papley showed up with 105. For the Saints, the man that just signed a 5-year deal, Rowan Marshall 156. As I said at the start, Jack Steele 115 first game back, and Sebastian Ross 112. The Colts for the Swans, Callum Mills 86, Parker 75, and Heaney 59. And for the Saints, Brad Crouch, it's a bit stiff, but 93. Jack Sinclair 79, which isn't great with a full midfield. We might see some lower scores, but I'll get into that towards the end. And Max King only scored a 29. All right, Jack, you had the Bye versus the Crows.
I did, and the Crom won by 57. Getting into the hots, mentioned it already. Aaron Hall, 153, brought him in. We both brought him into our sides. Funny enough, just looked like Aaron Hall. I don't know what else really to say. Todd Goldstein, 120, continuing his hot form, and I'm going to have to apologise to him. Curtis Taylor, we were mocking him at the start of the season because there was a chance him playing over Horn Francis, and he's the first one out of the three to reach triple figures.
Get around him.
So you are better than Horn Francis, Taylor. I apologise. And getting on to the Crom, Rory Ladd, 156, like I said earlier. Very good, very happy. Jordan Dawson, 134. Last, I think it's 6 odd weeks. He's gone absolutely crazy with his scores.
Who's that?
Jordan Dawson. He started off very average, and the last 5-6 weeks he's picked up
126 last 3, 122 last 5.
Yeah. Riley O'Brien, 127. Darcy Fogarty, he's done the Vegeta Blue Moon and got 121. Tex Walker, 119, and Bang Peas back in business, 113. Getting into the colds, Scott injured. I had to put him in here. Taron Thomas, 3 touches for a game, 13 super coach, and was a wank on Instagram or Twitter, whatever one it was. So it's the first time this season he's not cold once, he's cold twice in a week. I wasn't.
Also, just quickly on Bailey Scott, it's a hip. Expect to return around 18 or 19.
Yeah, wasn't gonna chuck him in until I saw that post of him acting like a wank. So I'm like, yeah, nah, you got to get the treatment. You're a wank. Um, and Luke McDonald got a 74. For the Crom, Hamill and McAdam injured. I'm not sure which one it was, but one of them did their ankle late in the game, and it looked very bad. I think it might have been McAdam.
Let me have a look.
I haven't seen the injury report, but I saw it happen, and it did not look good at all.
If this works. Hamill was a concussion.
Yeah, so it would have been McAdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, that did not look
Ankle.
great.
Subject to fitness.
Yeah, and the man that I call Peddler, Parnell, only got an 18 in, I think it was his fourth game.
You're asking all the bloody hard questions right now.
Third or fourth game.
Now it was his third game.
Yeah, which is not great for people who jumped on him.
Yep, not wrong.
And that's all I had for that game.
All right. All right, so I had the Pies versus the Giants. This is a tough one for me because as the Pies won, I'm happy, but I'm sad because I didn't tip them, and it was the only tip I got wrong this week. The Pies won by 11. Yes, I know what you're all thinking. Why don't you back your side? I'm here to win the tipping. All right, I'm here to win it. If I think we're going to lose, I won't tip us. If I think we're a chance or we're going to win, I'll tip us. All right, so don't hate on me. Don't hate the player, hate the game. The hots for the Pies, though, Pendle's returned with 130. You love to see it. Will Hoskin Elliott, 129. Braden Maynard, 123. Darcy Cameron, 117. Looks like Grundy might be back very soon, though, so look out there. Side bottom 101, and I've put Nick Dacos 93, averaging 25 disposals over the last month, I believe. For the Giants, Josh Kelly 115, Harry Himmelberg 114, Phil Davis 110, Cobbs 109, Whitfield 103, and Jesse Hogan 101. As we move to the Colds, Jack Crispy Crisp 80, Taylor Adams 78, Jack's man Pat Lipinski 74. And for the Giants, Tom Green 92, Toby Green 70, and Tim Taranto 56. And that's all for that game. So Jack, you'll take us with Port versus the Suns.
And Port won by 2 points in a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
Getting straight into the hot stand, Houston 131. My boy, Carl Amon 118. Connor Rosie 113. Riley Bonner 111. And I put Big Charlie Dixon with a 98. It was a pretty good score. Don't know how well he's going this year.
Yeah, not bad.
Going over to Gold Coast, Jared Witt's 148. That's what we love to see. Ben Ainsworth 113. Oleg Markov 104. Tuk 101, and Isaac Rankin with a 95. Getting into the Colds, Marshall with a 76. He's been scoring very well, so that's a poor game from him, even though he kicked 4 goals still. Trav Boak a 93. Ollie Wines a 96. We just expect them to ton up. Davies, thank fuck. As soon as I saw him go down, I was happy he's off injured.
Yep.
And Matt Rowell an 82.
Yep.
And that's all I had.
Just one thing on that game and one thing in general. Riley Bonner's actually injured as well. something wrong with his cheek, and he should be back around 19 to 20. And lastly, I don't know if you saw Jack, but Majak Dor retired,
I
which
did.
is sad because he's obviously been through a lot.
Alan
But
back.
we wish him all the best with life, and he's got a nice family there. So good on him, and good luck to him. And that's it for all the games. So we will go through our discussion topics now. All right, so our discussion topics for this week, we have 3 of them. Tom Stewart, what do we do with him? Our pros and cons for downgrading to a basement price player, so that's 102k. And possible underperforming primo trade outs. So we'll get into that. So do you want to go first, Jack, on what to do with Tom Stewart?
Trade him.
Trade
him. He's out for 4 weeks. Unless you've still got a Sam DeConning, Paddy McCartan that you've held and they're sitting on your bench, there's no one you can really trust to cover him for the 4 weeks.
Yep.
And with his price, you can get any defender you want.
Yeah.
So if you've been looking at a Sam Doherty or a Jordan Dawson, it's time to jump off Stewart and trade him. We're up to what, round 16?
Yep.
So he's out to round 21. That's 3 games.
Yeah.
You only get him for 3 games if you keep him. So there's no, in my opinion, it's stupid to keep him. There's no real point.
Yep. So I'm similar, but I've got a different take on it. Similar to what you said, but the opposite. It'll all make sense in 2 seconds, all right? So 4 weeks is a long time in the Supercoach world, and that typically means instant trade, okay? But not always. What I mean is most of us have a Jacob Ware or maybe a Sam Conning or Paddy McCartan. Or possibly if you've been lucky enough to have a cheaper fallen premium, like maybe a Stephen May or a Jake Lloyd, you might have them at D7 at the moment. So Jacob Ware, McCartan, DeConning, and that primo, they're great cover, which means you won't have to trade Tom Stewart at all. Most people are going to jump off Stewart, which is fair enough. I am. And Jack is as well. But after his 4 weeks, no one is going to own him, and that is Supercoach finals time. All right. So if you have, that fallen primo or that rookie that's scoring well, you can switch him on field, all good. Okay. But what you can do, most people would have Jacob Ware, and some people might still have like a Greg Clark or something like that. You will need to downgrade Clark and upgrade Ware to a fallen primo like your Mays, your Lloyds, and people like that. So what that means is you've got a fallen primo who will probably get you an 80, which is better than Ware, McCartan, and DeConning realistically, and they have the potential to go big. Like we just saw Jake Lloyd scored 148. And what that means is Tom Stewart will just be on your bench while this person's scoring you more than what a rookie would. So you're not losing too many points there. But also if you go like a Dawson to Aaron Hall and they go 130 plus in the next few weeks, then you're in a bit of trouble there. But it's a risk some people might take. So I've given a few possible trade targets if you did want to Well, one, just trade Stewart, and two, go for that fallen primo. So obviously, Jordan Dawson, 593k. He's the safest option, but most expensive. Has been on a heater as of late, 119 last three, has an average of 110 for the season, and is at 13% ownership, so you can't go wrong there. The man Jack and I have both got this week, Aaron Hall, 508k, two hamstrings in one season screams trouble, but coming back and dropping a massive 153 and breaking the record for most meters gained in a game, it's very tempting. At only 1.7% of sides, it is so tempting. That's why I've gone for it. All right. We know this seagull loves a cheeky chip, and his scoring ceiling being so high, I think this chip Jack might have some chicken salt on it. Next, Dan Houston, 535k. Houston, we have a problem. Tom Stewart out. What do we do? No need to fear. Dan is here. An average of 106 and 112 over the last five. Houston could be a smoky to climb the ranks. Has taken his game to a new level and showing some consistency. This trade I can't complain about and is at 15% ownership. As we get into the fallen primos, or and one guy that could go big here. So Stephen May, as I said, 397k, 22 disposals, 18 kicks, 4 marks, 82% by foot, had 4 intercepts, 4 score involvements, took 8 kicks in, played in from them all, and 599 meters gained. Someone we looked at last year as a pod choice, and he showed us glimpses of being that pod, but only in certain bunches. So if we can get him before one of those bunches, this would be move of the year and save your season or progress you even further. Next, Braden Maynard, 425k, 22 disposals, 17 of them were kicks, 9 marks, 86% by foot, 9 intercepts, 1 goal assist, and 4 score involvements, and 526 meters gained. Over his next 3 games, he has an average of 89, and next 4 games are all against weaker sides. So you'll take a 90 each week over a Ware or someone like that. So from the Keep Stewart, that's something to think about. And I guess like a smoky pick here, Jack Scrimshaw, 428k, just coming off 131 Supercoach points, 26 disposals, 10 contested, 12 marks, 88% by foot, 13 intercepts, 4 score involvements. He can easily get you that 80 plus each week, and you won't be losing too many points in theory. So those are the options that I think you could go for if that's trading out Stewart or upgrading Ware to one of those fallen primos. So Jack, can you take us through your pros and cons for downgrading to 102k basement price player, please?
So I had a bit of trouble with this one, I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
The only one I could come to is it gives you more money to upgrade, and it can get you to a top tier player instead of a mid tier primo.
Yep.
That's the only pro I could really think of.
Yep.
The cons are most likely no bench cover.
Yep.
If a concussion or anything like that happens, I'd say 99% of the time, if they haven't played, they're not going to play.
Yep.
There are those chances that players do play, but it's unlikely and very risky. And with that, has no cash regen to downgrade to upgrade other players if you've got the trades.
Yeah. Nice. So it is something all us long-term players know to avoid is those basement players. But with trades of scarcity and big name players dropping every week, it may not be a bad option to have one on your bench. As we know, they usually don't play, so it destroys your cash gen. But it could be the difference between getting a Sam Walsh instead of a Josh Kelly, as you said, Jack. And that's similar to me. The reason I got Carmichael this week was because it could possibly help me get maybe a Callum Mills instead of Sam Walsh. But anyway, here are my pros and cons. I've got 3 for each. So 3 for the pros. It's extra money to spend. You get a possible loophole option, depending which team they're from. And the chance for DPP swing. You can, if you get someone that's a forward mid, you've got a bit of flexibility there. The cons for me, as I said, most cases they don't play. You've got a wasted bench spot with no cash gen. And your trades, it's very hard to upgrade once you have these players not making cash. So you're sort of stuck there. So definitely a massive risk, but it's one that I have taken. But that's because I'm sitting in 15k for ranking. I'm not in the top 100 where you wouldn't even look at it. So just know if you do this, it is very risky and it could destroy your season. And lastly, Jack, who are your possible underperforming primo tradeouts?
All right, I've got 9 players, and I'm starting off with a Richmond player.
Yep.
Jaden Short.
Yep.
People are going to look at him and say he's averaging 103.4. What's the problem? He's got a 3-round average of 90 and a 5-round average of 93. And in the new role he's been playing the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's only turned up once. It's not a Supercoach benefit role for him. It's a benefit role for Richmond, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Supercoach, and his Supercoach scores have been consistent 80s since he's gone into that new role.
Yep.
So that's why I've got him in there. Pat Lipinski, I think it's fair reason. He's you pray he gets an 80 every week. He's very inconsistent. He drops 120, 130, and then the next week he scores a 60. That's pretty much it on Lipinski. He was good to start with. He made money, but he's not a long-term keeper. My next one might surprise people, seeing that I brought him in last week, and that's Jack Crisp. He's averaging 103. He's got a 3-round average of 99.7 and a 5-round average of 100.6. Similar with Jaden Short, not that he's got a new role, but he's very inconsistent. He'll go and he'll score you 119, 120, maybe even 130, but then like this week he scored an 80. It's just he's one of those who he's got the role to score well and score consistently, but he just hasn't been.
Yep.
That goes on with my next guy, Adam Treloar, man I started with, and he's the almost man. He's having an amazing season when you look at it from an AFL standpoint, yet he's scoring 80s, low 90s in Supercoach because he can't hit a target.
Yeah.
So that's Treloar. He puts up the numbers, but he just doesn't do what Supercoach requires. He's more of is it Dream Team?
Yeah.
He's more of a Dream Team player than Supercoach this year. My next one is my big one, and everyone's probably going to be shocked. Patrick Cripps.
Yep.
In the last 6 weeks, he's turned up once, and it wasn't a big ton. It was around 105, which is not great. Again with Short, his average is 111, so you're probably like, why is that bad? A 3-round average of 100, a 5-round average of 98.4. We're talking about primo mids. We want at least 115. One, he's not averaging that, and two, based off the last 5 weeks, getting 100 is difficult.
Yeah.
Not good at all. My next one is Zach Merritt. I don't know how many people have him, but he's just not done what we thought he would. We thought he's been consistent this year, but we thought he'd be at 110, where he's only 103. He got 111 this week, but he's got a 3-round average of 97.
Yep.
So he's like Cripps, he's not putting in those scores for that midfield. As well as my next player, which is Travis Boak, who's probably been the best out of the three of them in the last 3 weeks. But he's still, people jumped on him as a pod mid who we thought was going to be a great option, which the start of the season he was. I think he was averaging 130 in the first 6 weeks. He was like the top ranked midfielder in points, and then he's come down. His average is at 109.5, so it's not bad. Like Cripps's, but 3-round average of 101 and a 5-round average of 85. That is worrying.
Yep.
My next option is Isaac Cumming, defender. He's been consistent, but with all the defenders that are doing so well, he's someone that's dropped off.
Yep.
He's averaging 99.8. He's got a 3-round average of 85.7 and a 5-round average of 89, which is not great, especially from what we saw last season with Isaac coming in. He was turning up for fun last season, and people were like, well, he could be a good option in defense, and he just really hasn't been what we expected.
Yep.
And my last one, Luke Ryan. People went in as like a pod defender, but he's been Pat Lipinski as a defender. He scores 130 one week, he scores 50 the next week. The man is uncontrollable. He's got an average of 90.9, which, like Cumming, is low, especially with what others are scoring. 3-round average of 84.5. But what's just surprised me here is he's got a 5-round average of 99. That's still not good, but with a 50 this week and the last 3 with an average of an 84, to have a 99 5-round average shows that he's had a couple of big scores recently. But do you want a big score every couple of weeks, or do you want a consistent score over 100? That's why I've put Luke Ryan in as my last trade out player.
Yep. Nice. So I had 8 people. A few the same, so I won't go into it crazily. So my first one is Paddy Cripps. As you said, 98.4 averages last 5 rounds, not great. It's been really ever since Mark Pitternet went out of that PCL. And he's expected back in the next 3 weeks. So we could actually see Cripps return to form there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people jumped off. Jaden Short, 3 round average of 90. As Jack said, new role, playing that midfield, half forward role, just playing a bit everywhere. It's not great. But things could change there. I think Baker's really taken some mid-time from him there. Andy Brayshaw, he keeps dropping under 100, which is frustrating. He still has a high average. That's just due to his massive games where he goes 160, 150. But yeah, been pretty disappointing since the first probably 7 rounds. I've put Tuk Tuk, 5 round average of 107, same as Brayshaw. Keeps dropping under 100 or low hundreds. Has a higher average just due to his big games. He's had a few 160s and stuff in there. Isaac Heaney, 85.2 5 round average. I think he's still averaging 99 or just over 100. But there hasn't been that big score yet for a while. So he seems to have slowed down. I don't know if there's a little niggle there or it's been rolled because I haven't really been able to watch much of Sydney. But not great for those who have him. Jack Sinclair, who's still back. That might mean we see Sinclair start dropping some lower scores. Like we saw for a couple rounds there, where Seb Ross came back. He was moved out of that midfield role, dropped a few 80s, but still then got injured. So he's been going off since, but still back. He scored a 79. So with a fully fit midfield, he might struggle. Luke Ryan, 84.3, 3 round average, has been dropping some absolute stinkers. I think it was a 50 last week. But he'll come out this week and score 140. So definitely jump off him there if you haven't already. And lastly, Jack's man, Pat Lipinski, 85.8, 5 round average. Didn't get the role that we expected at the start of the season.
He did at the start, but it changed to a more half forward the more the season's gone by.
Yeah, so he's stuck in a half forward, which isn't ideal. If you do still have him and it's time to jump off like Jack has. And that's all I've got. Jack, do you have anything to add before I sign off this podcast?
Tom Stewart's a sniper.
And there it is. Tom Stewart is a sniper. So that'll do us for tonight's podcast. Was there anyone that we missed that may be in your team or someone you're looking at trading in? Let us know what your rank is and what you're looking to do trade-wise. You can let us know either on Twitter or in the YouTube comments. Thank you all again for your support and for listening and watching on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. As I said, don't forget to hit us up on Twitter at Breakevens Pod and on YouTube. Just search the Breakevens and you'll find us there. So good luck to everyone for round 16. And on that note, as always, until next week, it's bye for now.
See ya.